Welcome to the National Gamekeepers Organisation newscast for June. This month we're going to be looking at work in Parliament, working with police forces, some of our regional events, and an update on firearms law and firearms issues that have been worked through with our firearms licensing department. The NGO are always here, always busy, working for you. Hope you enjoy the show.
One of the good things that the NGO gets involved in on a weekly basis is working with police forces across the UK. So what we do is we offer free police training on what a gamekeeper does, what laws they have to adhere to, and all these things that gamekeepers and shooters go about on their daily business. And it's really important for us to make sure that the police understand and know what the law is, and so our job is to go out there and train the police and teach them what laws people have to adhere to, what's right, what's wrong, what to look out for. So also, and the good thing about that is that when the police get called out, what the general public don't know and sometimes perceive to be illegal isn't. You know, larceny traps, people don't like them, but they are a legal, lawful method of control. So if the police are forewarned and they understand why, you know, they can go out and give an informed opinion to the member of the public. I also attend a lot of rural policing hubs that talk about policing in the rural communities. So again, we're there to, you know, put the rural communities word forward, and you know, a lot of the time people in the rural community feel abandoned by the police. It's not generally the police's fault. You know, this is down to government cuts and things like that. So it's us to being out there meeting PCCs, you know, police officers, and to say we need more funding for rural communities. So if you're in a rural community, if you've got an issue with policing and you want us to get involved, please get in touch. We've just done the Rural Crime Survey at the end of last year, and that is now going out to PCCs and police forces across the country, and it's a really valuable document that police officers can use so they can challenge their high-ranking officers, the PCC, MPs, to get more funding.
I'm Rob Cross, I'm the Sergeant for the Leicestershire Police Rural Crime Team. We've just met here at the Allerton project with a number of partner organisations, RSPCA, NGO, all the local authorities, to discuss rural crime and any emerging patterns. Stuff like this that really helps us as well. So this is the NGO commissioned Rural Crime Survey for this year, and it gives us some real meat on the bones as to where we need to be focusing our resources, our efforts and our staff. Pleased to report that crime in Leicestershire year on year is 20% down, there or thereabouts, for a comparable time period to the end of May 2024 versus 2025. So we're in a really healthy place. My plea to you guys though watching this is report rural crime. If you're a victim of rural crime and you don't report it, we don't know where to focus our resources. So make sure that you're telling us where crime's happening, when it's happening, so we can put officers in a position to help you.
On the 5th of July, Born Flight Gun Dog Scurry is taking place at Windwhistle Farm near Salisbury in the Chalk Valley in Wiltshire. If you're in the area, go and have a look. Doors open at 9:30. It'll be a fun day with trade stands, demonstrations, gun dog scurry competitions, and it's all in aid of raising money for the National Gamekeepers Organisation. More information is on our website. Check out the Facebook and keep an eye out for board and gun dogs.
Hello there, I'm Kit Malthouse, Member of Parliament for North West Hampshire. Now, some of you may remember that last year in my constituency there was a horrible incident where one of the local keepers was very severely injured after an encounter with some alleged poachers. Now, that case is still under investigation. There have been arrests, hopefully more news soon, but it sparked a huge amount of concern about rural crime, particularly organised rural crime, and what people working in the countryside are exposed to. And so, along with my constituency neighbour, Denny Krueger, the member for East Wiltshire, we brought together a crime summit of high-level representatives from the three forces concerned, Wiltshire, Hampshire and Thames Valley, along with local landowners, gamekeepers and Tim Weston from the NGO, to talk about what more could be done. Last week, we held a follow-up meeting to that to look at what progress had been made, and pleasingly quite a lot had been. There's been more resources, more cops actually on the ground, better coordination, improving data sharing and intelligence, and as a result, hopefully a generally safer picture for everybody out there. Now, this is a watching brief. We are seeing more and more of this kind of gang-related, hair coursing related type activity, and all of us took action points away from that meeting, which we'll be working on over the next few months and years. Fundamentally, though, we have to deal with what I called at the meeting a kind of rural terrorism. This activity is designed to create fear in those people who live and work in the countryside, and it's just not acceptable. And so both Danny and I will be working hard on this over the months and years to come, hopefully hand in hand with the NGO. More news soon.
Hi, so we just finished a course, the DSC1 with Mike Fallow, the NGO course up here in Lincolnshire. Cracking couple of days, learnt loads, and Mike was a top instructor there. We learnt loads. It was good.
Absolutely fantastic course, lots of great information, brilliant range shooting sessions, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Good evening, I'm David Pooler, the Chairman of the National Gamekeepers Organisation. Tonight we've been invited to the House of Parliament where Professor Simon Denny is going to give a report on moorland matters. Sarah Reid's going to tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, hi there, I'm Sarah from the North Pennines Moorland Group, and we've just heard Simon Denny actually, so he's actually delivered his report and it's been fantastic. We've been looking at the economic, environmental benefits of grouse moors, so we surveyed over 58 grouse moors and they've come back with some fantastic statistics on the great stuff and the great work that the gamekeepers are doing on the estates, and things from patrolling, stopping barbecues, wildfires. It's really a big thing at the moment with the amount of wildfires we've seen, and it's just all about the fantastic work that the keepers have been doing.
What the report clearly shows is that without the work of gamekeepers, we would not have the moorlands in England that we do have. And those moorlands are important for three reasons. First of all, they contain the birds, the plants, the insects, the whole flora and fauna that we enjoy, that millions of people in this country enjoy visiting, and that is unique to the UK. And that's just because of the work of gamekeepers. Secondly, as a result of their activity, millions and millions of pounds, over 120 millions of pounds a year when shooting takes place, is produced and generated and benefits mainly small rural communities, including farmers, contractors, hospitality businesses, etc. And thirdly, involvement in game shooting, especially ground shooting, is enormously important to the social fabric of, again, these small rural villages. So without gamekeepers, we would not have the countryside that everybody, not just those involved in shooting enjoys. We wouldn't have the red-listed, the rare birds, the curlews, lapwings and hen hares that we all enjoy seeing. And it's all because we have people like David and his colleagues in the NGO.
National Gamekeepers Organisation have been involved with discussions with Natural England, DEFRA, and as well as some of the other countryside bodies in relation to deer night shooting licences. It's a hot topic at the minute, with deer numbers increasing in many parts of the UK. To protect forestry and woodland, it's one of the key things we need to do is get on top of deer numbers. But is night shooting and a de-restriction of licensing the right way to go about it? We have a fully dedicated deer branch that lead on these things. If you're interested in deer and interested in being a member of the NGO Deer Branch is just for you. £55 a year gets you membership to the NGO Deer Branch, and a whole host of membership benefits, including insurance.
That's another Essex NGO clay shoot finished. It's been a good day, weather's been fabulous, had a good turnout. Don't think it's as many as last year, but we did have two major clay shoots on within an hour's drive from here, so I think people have gone there as well rather than come here. but I'm happy with the day, and I'm now just off home for a bit of food.
The NGO have been undertaking a survey that talks about gamekeepers' role in the local community, their role with family, and their role within countryside and habitat as a whole. If you haven't yet filled in the survey, the link's in the description to this news story, so please go ahead, fill it in. The information that we collect will be vital to helping the NGO keep your role as gamekeepers in the light of government and show how important it is to family and rural communities, not just wildlife.
Hello everyone. Let me first of all introduce myself. I'm Alan Barrell. I'm a Firearms Licensing Liaison Officer employed by the National Gamekeepers Organisation, the NGO. We have a small team who are dedicated to provide explanations and answers to queries from, and support for that matter, to queries from our members and occasionally from others on firearms and firearms licensing related issues. What I'd like to do today is to talk to you about the long expected and very welcome announcement from Dame Diana Johnson, the Minister of State for Policing and Crime Prevention, that the government is to support a change to the law to deregulate the possession of sound moderators for firearms. This is actually an initiative which was launched by the NGO several years ago, and we were then supported in our endeavours by other shooting organisations and indeed the police. The majority of police officers are welcoming this move. We are, however, disappointed that the government has chosen not to use a legislative reform order to do this. This would have been a very speedy solution. But instead, they've said that the matter is to change, or it requires a change to primary legislation. And in order to do this, it has to be debated both before the House of Commons. It's going to take a lot longer. One of the disturbing things that I have seen very recently is some speculation, and quite wild speculation, that the law has already changed. It has not. The government has simply said that they will support a change in the law to remove moderators from certificates. It therefore follows that if we require a moderator now, either a new moderator, in which case it would be a grant, or a replacement of a moderator that's on our certificate, in which case we would need a variation, we still have to make those applications as we have hitherto. A sad state of affairs that things can't get moved on much quicker, but that is the way things are. The law has not yet changed. We will, of course, endeavour to get the changes through as quickly as possible, and we will keep you informed as developments take place.
The NGO has been working with other organisations and politicians with regards to Natural England's failure to issue a general licence for the release of game birds on protected sites known as SACs and SPAs. SPAs are particularly affected, with many SPAs across the country unable to release game birds at a suitable date and time. And individual licences coming back from Natural England are woefully inadequate and don't take into account supplementary circumstances about that individual place. Politicians working behind the scenes, briefed by the NGO, have managed to ask a question in the House of the Labour Minister, Iranica Davis. Here's Danny Krueger asking that very question.
The gamekeepers employed by the military shoots on Salisbury Plain are an essential resource in preserving that rare and special habitat, but DEFRA has given the right to award licences to the shoots to Natural England, who are a quango ideologically opposed to shooting. Will the Minister take responsibility and ensure that the shoots on Salisbury Plain do get their licences this year?
Well, I'm very sorry to hear the honourable gentleman criticising Natural England in that kind of way. They're a very responsible agency that do very good work on behalf of all of us. Now, we made the decision not to issue a general licence for game bird releases on special protection areas such as Salisbury Plain. We think it's really important that we help protect our internationally important bird populations from avian influenza, and I'm sure he will share the same goal.
Questions like this asked in the House are really important, and this is part of the work the NGO does for you and for conservationists in general. Moving forward, the National Gamekeepers Organisation, working with the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust, are going to be looking at our own habitat regulatory assessments to see if Natural England have made the right decisions in many of these cases. Stay tuned on that, more is going to follow in the months to come. Thank you for watching. More information on the NGO can be found at www.nationalgamekeepers.org.uk. And don't forget, it's only £55 a year to join the NGO and be part of the community that looks after our sport and gamekeeping and game management in general.